Good morning, just about morning. Hope everyone's well. Welcome to the Sanderson Show. It is Fight Friday, and we've got some stuff to chop up. If you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Right, some bad news to start with. Belal Muhammad is out of the main event of UFC 310. Belal Muhammad was due to defend his newly crowned welterweight championship against the boogeyman of the division, Shavkatfight, at UFC 310 for the 170-pound strap. However, unfortunately, Belal Muhammad has had to pull out. Pause. He has a quote-unquote bone infection where they've had to operate on his foot. Horrible image, as you see in the thumbnail. And yeah, he's out. He's out of that fight. He's on IV drips and everything. He's still in hospital, if I'm not mistaken. Very unfortunate for him. Obviously won the belt in dominant fashion against our very own Leon Edwards earlier on this year, and said that he would be a fighting champion, said he would go out there and defend his championship on a regular basis, and he was going to do that. Unfortunately, injury struck, and he's out of the main event, so we wish him a speedy recovery. We hope to see him back soon. And does that open the door for an interim title challenge or title shot? I'm going to speak about that in a bit, but look, there are very few guarantees in life. Death, taxes, and Alex Pereira saving UFC on short notice. As soon as news broke yesterday, guess who came out of a tweet? And all it said was, "Call me." And that is Alex Pereira. Now, obviously, Alex Pereira does this, the internet goes crazy, as it should, because this is a guy who's not just saying it for clout. This is a guy who goes out there, shows up, and shows out on a regular basis, whether it be with a full camp or a short camp. Now, this then opened the question, who would it be? Ankalaev has just won, but he just fought. Would Ankalaev be willing to do it? And apparently Ankalaev is willing to do it. But I want to go down a slightly different avenue of this one. And I know I'm probably going to annoy a lot of people and be like, "Oh, you're being too risk averse. Just let it happen. It's a fight." As much as we love and appreciate Alex Pereira for doing what he's doing, is he the smartest man in the room when it comes to this? Because let's say he puts his name to the hat and says, "Look, I'm going to fight short notice. Ankalaev, you keep on chatting crap. Let's do this." And Ankalaev accepts. Ankalaev is coming off the back of probably a grueling fight camp and will have to turn around and go straight into another one. If I'm not mistaken, the fight, so UFC 310, let me just double check. UFC 310 is the 7th of December. So it's a month and 6 days. If Alex Pereira is going to do this against Ankalaev and he says, "Look, I last fought Khalil Roundtree. I've had a month off already. I'm going to fight in a month's time." Ankalaev literally fought on Saturday. He's not even been out of the cage a week yet. He made weight a week ago. And to get him to do that again is going to be really tough on the body. Plus, if he doesn't accept this time, he knows he could go to the back of the queue because he rejected the UFC 300, if I'm not mistaken. On top of that, he knows if he goes in there and loses, he's not going to get another shot. However, Alex knows if he goes in there and loses, he gets an immediate title match, an immediate rematch with a full camp. Alex Pereira is your fighter's fighter, and he genuinely is one of my favorite. But I don't think he gets the respect he deserves for having this, an understanding of the game. By him taking so many short notice fights and winning them, the grace and the favor he's got with the UFC is on a whole nother level to about 99% of the fighters on the roster. He knows if he loses to Ankalaev, he gets an immediate title match, an immediate rematch because of the work he's done already. Ankalaev, if he rejects the fight or takes the fight and loses, goes to the back of the queue, in my opinion. Is it fair for Ankalaev to be put in this position. Because here's the thing, and I'll do it as well, because he's been taught, and this is why I say fighters have to be careful what they say, because he's talked so much, because he's said so much. If he gets offered the fight and he says no, he looks silly. But if he gets the title shot and says yes, he has a month to prepare for the biggest fight of his life. The biggest fight of his life. So I don't know, man. I don't know what I'd do here. And maybe this is the reason I'm not a fighter, because most fighters will just be like, yeah, let's run it. But sometimes you got to sit back and think about the longevity of your career, how difficult it might be to get back to the top of the mountain if you fall down. I personally think Ankalaev needs to think about this decision. I think Alex Perez played a blinder. He's already had time off. And he'll be ready for this fight. I don't know if I can say the same for Ankalaev. So it remains to be seen what happens there. If I'm Ankalaev, though, I'm thinking about this long and hard, because if he takes this fight and he loses, he ain't getting another shot. Because it would have been the Jan Blachowicz interim title. No, that was for the main belt. That was for the main belt. So didn't get that. And if he loses to Pereira after the amount he's spoken and his fight style, it's not looking good. And then I'll be honest, if Ankalaev and Pereira fight and Pereira wins, it cements his legacy. Because again, it's everyone keeps on talking about this. He has to fight a grappler, he has to fight a grappler, and everyone keeps on saying it's got to be Ankalaev, it's got to be Ankalaev. Ankalaev is not a grappler. We just saw his fight against Rakic. He's a kickboxer, he's a striker. He has grappling abilities, but he's not a grappler. That light heavyweight division is pretty nice for Pereira right now. Like, I'll go through the rankings for you guys and show you what he's done in this division so far, because it's been nothing short of amazing. Currently, he's a champion. If he fights and beats Ankalaev, he'd have beaten number 1. He'd have beaten number 2, Yuri Prohaska. He'd have beaten number 3, Jamal Hill. He'd have beaten number 4, Jan Blachowicz, who I think that was a controversial decision. Hasn't fought Rakic, but he's not going to fight Rakic off the back of 2 losses for Rakic. That's number 5. He's beaten Khalil Roundtree at number 6. Krylov is also joint number 6, which is weird. I don't know why the UFC have done that. It must be a typo. So Krylov's maybe the next person if he beats Ankalaev and he wants to stay at 205. Then you got Uzdemir, and you got Walker, and you got Carlos Ulberg. Uzdemir and Walker aren't getting title shots. Maybe Carlos Ulberg, if he puts on a good performance in his next fight, maybe he could jump the queue. But he has well and truly pretty much cleaned out that division. And look, Carlos Ulberg fights Uzdemir on the 23rd of November. Uzdemir is currently ranked number 8. So he'll jump up 2 places if he wins that. Or he could jump up to number 7 potentially. Carlos Ulberg still might need one more fight. Or do you just give it to Krylov? Because Alex is clean out the division. And I know people will say, we'll just send him up to heavyweight. Alex might not want to go to heavyweight just yet. Krylov is fighting the week before. But I mean, the division's clear. Krylov or Ulberg, could even say Uzdemir, are the next in line potentially for a title shot after Ankalaev, providing Pereira gets through Ankalaev. And if he does that, it's a very similar situation to Tom Aspinall at heavyweight. Look, we expect Jones and Stipe to retire after their fight. Apart from Cyril Gane, Tom's beaten Volkov, Pavlovich, Blades. He's not going to fight Almeida because Almeida hasn't done enough. He's beaten Spivak and he's beaten Tabora, who are all in the top 10. It does look like it's a head-on-head collision with Pereira and Aspinall. Maybe not in the next fight, but it may have to happen soon simply because they both cleaned out the division. Cyril Gane is someone that Tom will have to fight. And that's not an easy fight for Tom. It's a fight I think he wins, but it's not an easy fight. But heavyweight and light heavyweight, the 2 divisions, in my opinion, who are seen... Shout out to Chris Pratt. The two divisions, which were the premier divisions back in the day for the UFC, are now jammed up. They're now jammed up, and it's kind of the UFC's fault. One, for what they've done with the Jones and Stipe and Aspinall situation at heavyweight, and then partly because Pereira's just running through the division and they're not bringing opponents through quick enough through. So look, if Pereira takes the Ankalaev fight and Ankalaev accepts the fight and they fight in December, I'm all ears for it. I'm all looking forward to it. But I've got to say the advantages with Pereira. I think Pereira wins the fight even on a long camp, but I think the advantages are there. So let me know what you guys think. And then on to the other side of the main event, which isn't happening now, between Belal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov, and that is Shavkat. Shavkat obviously found out the news yesterday. He's been very gracious to Belal, saying, look, just heal up, see you soon. But he said he wants an interim title fight on that card. He said he wants to stay on the card. And there are some names being touted about, and I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this, because Kamaru Usman threw his name in the hat. If I'm going to be honest, from a selfish point of view, that's the fight I really want to see. Ian Gary's there at number 7. Colby's not going to get it. Colby, I don't think, said anything about it. Sean Brady just won. He's ranked number 5. Jack Della Maddalena, you'd expect him to fight on the Australia card. Could he decide to come forward and bring his fight date forward and fight on this interim title match against Shavkat, a fight that we all thought we were going to see anyway? Could Leon Edwards throw his name in there and say, look, I want a redemption, but we're not hearing anything from Leon either. But the person who's really come forward out of the blue, which again, I'm not mad at, and that's Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley at the pay-per-view before the last, he fought Wonderboy and he got a decisive knockout victory. He's currently ranked number 9 in the division. He has called out Ian Gary, but heard nothing back from him there. I mean, Buckley's an extremely exciting fight for anyone. He goes out there and he goes out on his shield and he fights like a man possessed. He's like a mini Mike Tyson, but I don't know if he's ready just there yet. I don't think he's there just yet. Usman, in terms of name value, makes the most sense for Shavkat. In terms of ranking, though, it's probably Jack. It's probably Jack, and that's probably the most exciting fight you can make outside of a title fight in this division. JDM is very fun to watch. He's got great boxing, great hands, and Shavkat is just a beast everywhere. But from a selfish fan point of view, a fight that does make sense, given that he's gone back and forth with Belal as well, Kamaru versus Shavkat makes all the sense in the world. Look, the last time we saw Usman was around a year ago against Hamzat at 185 on short notice, and he gave a great account of himself. We've never seen anyone take Shavkat 5 rounds. We know Usman can easily do 5 rounds. He's done it plenty of times. Do you then go Usman versus Shavkat? Because look, if Usman's able to stop the boogeyman and take his O, and then you set up a fight with him and Belal, which in my opinion is the fight Belal really wants, it could be really fun. Theo, would I want to see Leon versus Shavkat? It depends on Leon's headspace. I don't know where Leon is at the moment. I mean, we saw him at Bellator. The PFL card cornering his brother. But apart from that, I haven't really heard much from Leon. I hope he's in a good mental state. I hope he's in a good physical state. It makes me think maybe he had an injury or something. I'm not making an excuse for anyone who comes at me. Maybe he has an injury or something, either going into the fight or coming out of the fight, and just needed some time to take away to heal up. But he's always going to be a main player in this division. He's a fantastic fighter. But just not heard anything from him. You'd maybe think he'd throw his hat in there. Because if he throws his hat in there, arguably he gets the fight against Shavkat. And I would like to see that fight. I think people would automatically sleep on Leon given his last performance. But the performance against Colby and the performance against Usman in their third fight, I think that suggests that Leon's capable of beating anyone in this division, right? So I'd be willing to see it. I'd be willing to see how it goes. But just get Shavkat a fight. He's too fun not to be on this card. So people, look, I'm going to wrap up there. If you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. On the road to 3,000 subs. I'm about 15 away. So if you haven't subscribed, please, please, please subscribe. We'd love to get there within the next week or so. and celebrate 3K. Also, got a few plugs. I've got a shout out to Luke Tanner and Jamie Phillips. The links to their channels are in the description, so make sure you go subscribe to their channels as well. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure. If you don't see me over the weekend, you'll definitely see me on Monday. But before you go, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the Sanderson Show. Thank you all for watching and listening. Till you see you next time. Take it easy, everyone.